Good Monday morning, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get to your headlines. Happening right now, we are following a tense situation in Mexico. More unrest is expected across the country today after a powerful drug cartel leader was killed. American tourists in Puerto Vallarta are now sheltering in place as flights get canceled. Megan McPherson has the very latest.
I have been checking the U.S. State Department's pages throughout the morning, and the latest security alert from them was posted about 7 hours ago. It states that U.S. citizens in Puerto Vallarta, Guadalajara, Cancun, and several other areas in Mexico should continue to shelter in place today. That's the biggest thing to know for anyone who's there or anyone who might have family or friends there right now. Yesterday, the Mexican army killed the country's most wanted drug lord known as El Mencho. The White House says the U.S. provided intelligence support for the operation as pressure continues on Mexico to crack down on drug trafficking. El Mencho led the Jalisco New Generation cartel, accused of funneling massive amounts of fentanyl and other drugs into the United States. His death triggered widespread unrest, with suspected cartel members torching buses and setting up blockades across 20 Mexican states. You can see that in some of these images here. Those blockades have mostly been cleared as of this morning. And take a look at these images. You can see billows of smoke across the Puerto Vallarta skyline and military helicopters circling above buildings on fire. Puerto Vallarta is a very common place for American tourists to vacation. That's why there's so much concern right now, especially. School is canceled today in Guadalajara, which is Mexico's second largest city. And the State Department has what's called a STEP program. It sends travelers safety alerts and helps the embassy make contact with travelers in case of an emergency. If you're interested, you can enroll in that program at mx.usembassy.gov. They post security alerts there as well, so an important resource.
Megan, thank you. We're also seeing the ripple effects here at home. Audrey is at Minneapolis International Airport right now with how things are looking.
Yeah, things are changing. Now, it's important to note that there are no Mexican airports that are technically closed because of this unrest, but U.S. airlines are canceling flights left and right. And actually, just within the last hour, we saw the final holdout flight to Puerto Vallarta from MSP cancel. It was a Sun Country flight that was supposed to leave at about 7:30, and with less than 2 hours until the departure time, it canceled. And there was also an arrival from Puerto Vallarta to MSP that was supposed to get in around 5 o'clock. That too has also been taken off the board. Now, when I looked at the airport schedules for Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, they're both full of canceled flights from major U.S. airports. Travelers in those countries are being told to shelter in place, avoid crowds, especially areas with law enforcement activity. Monitoring the road closures is also critical for travelers trying to get on the very few flights that are still scheduled back to the U.S. Now, Puerto Vallarta is known for being a tourist town. You know, when I was looking up articles about some of the safest places to travel in Mexico as an American, you know, Puerto Vallarta makes the list every single time, which is why this unrest and all of the travel headaches surrounding it is so unexpected. Back to you.
Audrey, thank you so much. The unrest in Mexico isn't the only thing that's impacting flights this morning. A major winter storm is also causing problems with the blizzard warnings in effect across most of the Northeast. In New York City, heavy snow is bringing the city to a standstill with a travel ban in effect right now. The National Weather Service says the city could see anywhere between 12 and 18 inches of snow, with parts of Long Island getting up to 2 feet. In New Jersey and Boston, officials say they're bracing for the worst.
This is likely to be the worst storm that we have seen since 1996. There is a 90% likelihood of the whole state getting a foot of snow or more.
Boston is no stranger to nor'easters, but this is going to be a big one. More than 40 inches of snow accumulated in Boston, and potentially getting a whole lot more starting Sunday night.
LaGuardia Airport and JFK Airport are warning flyers that significant travel impacts are expected and to check their flight status before they head out. Developing this morning, the Maplewood Mall will reopen its doors after someone was shot inside following a fight. Right now, police are still trying to track down the shooter. Officers say it happened just after 2 p.m. yesterday. A man was found shot in the hip. He is expected to be okay. The owner of Enchanted Fantasy Film Museum tells us the shooting happened near his shop. He says it started as an argument between two groups of teens and young adults before turning physical and then violent. About 30 people sheltered inside his museum until police evacuated the mall.
Everyone's faces, it was just terror, you know? I mean, we were all just terrified. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Now, police described the shooter as a small-build Asian male wearing a black stocking hat, black jacket, white shirt, and black pants. Anyone with information should contact police. Taking a live look from our nation's capital this morning, where the Department of Homeland Security shutdown continues. Today, members of Congress will head back to work after leaving D.C. last week without a funding agreement. Democrats say they need to see changes to ICE before agreeing to more funding. The White House, however, says Democrats are refusing to make concessions. A federal investigation is underway this morning after Secret Service agents and a sheriff's deputy shot and killed a man outside of President Trump's Florida home. This happened early Sunday morning. Authorities say that a man broke through a security perimeter outside of Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate carrying a shotgun and a gas can. President Trump was hundreds of miles away at the time. NBC's Chris Pallone has more.
Federal investigators are trying to figure out why a North Carolina man showed up outside President Trump's Florida estate carrying a gas can and brandishing a shotgun. The Palm Beach County Sheriff says it happened around 1:30 Sunday morning. 2 Secret Service agents and a sheriff's deputy confronted the man who entered the secure area around Mar-a-Lago.
He was ordered to drop those 2 pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position. At that point in time, the deputy and the 2 Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat.
Law enforcement sources told NBC News the suspect is 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin. He died at the scene. Martin's family reported him missing earlier on Saturday. The Secret Service said no one it protects was at Mar-a-Lago at the time.
We want to be clear, the President of the United States was not in the state of Florida. And this remains an active investigation by the FBI.
President Trump stayed in Washington over the weekend, hosting Republican governors at the White House a few hours before the shooting.
I invite everyone in this room to bring forward ideas and opportunities to better serve our people, and in turn, never hesitate to let us know if there's anything we can do for you.
The president spent much of the weekend dealing with the fallout from Friday's Supreme Court decision ruling many of the tariffs he's imposed on foreign imports are illegal. In response, Mr. Trump said Saturday he is now raising global tariffs to 15% under a different law. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Well, we can all think of our favorite places to visit, dine, and have fun, but not all of us think about writing a book about it. In this week's Communities That Care, Jessica Hart introduces us to an author who hopes to inspire kids to learn more about their home.
The flavor of Rondo.
One of our other top sellers is banana cream pie.
Or scoops of history and culture.
No place else I'd rather be.
Brian White Jr. owns 2 Scoops Eatery.
It means everything to me to be a business owner in the Rondo neighborhood. I grew up in this community.
He never imagined he'd find his shop
right there
on the pages of someone else's book.
So I also wanted the books about Rondo to help young people identify their history and culture.
Dr. Artika Tyner.
Now we're looking at a glimpse of celebrating Gordon Parks.
Understands how pictures and words can shape a generation.
Violet Loves Rondo is an opportunity to share our stories, to get a sense of what are some of those places and experiences that shape the Rondo community, whether it's the Penumbra Theater or Walker West Music Academy. Arts and culture, enjoying some ice cream, like 2 Scoops, all those different things that make us Rondo. It's important to capture in a children's book because we want young people to have pride in their community.
A community divided by a highway in St. Paul.
The book helps to introduce a historical wrong, undeniably. I'm a 5th generation Rondo native. When I think about our history, oftentimes people talk about the highway, displacement, racial removal. But I really think about our history still being written, that we have a chance to tell our stories on our own terms and redefine the future.
Stories amplified in Violet Loves Rondo.
I don't want history just to be this thing lost in the past. I want history to be a part of the present. And how do we do that? Finding the inspiration in pages and books.
Swirls of inspiration that come from real life places.
And I was super happy to hear that she had mentioned us in this book too.
A book sprinkled with history and culture, 2 things that can never be erased. In the Rondo neighborhood, Jessica Hart, KARE 11 News.
Violet Loves Rondo was Dr. Tyner's 40th book. She hopes all of her books will encourage kids to want to learn more about their communities and write their own stories. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.